the program that showcases the contributions of all modes of transportation to the socio-economic growth and development of our country, Africa, and the rest of the world. Transport line is being beamed to you from the Center of Excellence, the state of aquatic splendor, and Africa's fifth largest economy, Lagos. I am Shino Elegbede, and thanks for being part of the program. Compliment of the season to everybody. Well, gradually, the year is winding down. Christmas is here. Christmas, New Year, before you know it, we commence 2025 by divine grace. But for majority of Nigerians, it has been a very difficult year in terms of hunger and poverty. But we thank God for being alive. So we're going to take a cursory look as regards how we've managed emergencies in Lagos State for the year 2024. Emergency in the sense of pedestrianism, road mode of transportation, inland waterways, and of course, the rail mode of transportation. All these fall under the purview of Lagos State Emergency Management Agency. And I tell you, we hear from the representative of the Permanent Secretary, that's the Director of Operations and Maintenance, Engineer Olatunde Akinsanya, who is going to give us how the year has been, how the year has fared, and their projection for 2025. I believe you agree with me with the issue of crowd control at Ibadan, Ikija, and Abuja. All hands must be on deck to make sure that we nip these incidents of people dying when you have hundreds and thousands of people gathering to do one thing or the other. So, how's Lagos State Government Agency, this time called LASEMA, fared in making sure that, well, to God be the glory, we've not had stories that touches the heart 2024 as regards crowd control. Of course, we've had calamities, but not of that magnitude of people dying hundreds and what have you. Guest in the studio is Engineer Olatunde Akinsanya. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
Engineer Akinsanya, how's the year fared?
Yeah, the year 2024 has been a very great year. Of course, we have had so many emergencies, of course, like many other years. However, the beauty of it is that LASEMA and the other stakeholders have been able to be in control of situations, especially when we have a crisis. We've been able to manage it to a greater level. And of course, we are glad that at this point, it's not been overwhelming. You know, no complex emergency or disaster or emergency has been overwhelming. So LASEMA and other stakeholders have been very, very, cooperative and strong at the scene of incidents. So this year, I will say that LASEMA and the other stakeholders have been very, very, on top of the emergency situations, and we have worked it down to a level that, the people of Lagos State have been very, very glad on many occasions.
What has been the infrastructures in place? Because we've heard of incidences of containers falling on vehicles, trailers losing control, brake failure, and what have you. And again, infrastructures in place at the same time, the synergy between you and other security and emergency agencies.
Yeah, of course, Lagos State is blessed with water bodies, and of course, is a port city. It's surrounded by water, and of course, you should expect high level of commercial activities in Lagos State. And of course, Lagos alone have not less than 2-3 major ports that receive containers from different countries. So the volume of container entering Lagos is far larger than more than 5 Western African countries. And of course, you should expect the level of container falling, and as such, but by and large, LASEMA together with other stakeholders like LASMA, LASAMBOS, and of course the Lagos Fire, we've been able to develop a robust working relationship that have enabled us to manage those crises. So for now, most of the emergency that we have, incident that we recorded on the transportation levels, are mostly, falling container to a large extent, like 50% of them. And of course, out of those 50%, we've been able to, manage it and get all of the containers off the road, reduce the downtime, of course, reduce the manpower loss. So for us, LASEMA, LASMA, and LASAMBOS, and Lagos Fire work in high-level synergy that have engendered, swift and effective response to falling container. You can imagine, when a container falls down, it blocks the road like 50-60% in few minutes. The outfall is massive. You can see the length of the traffic. And we are passionate about all of this. One thing about LASEMA is we look at incident and disaster holistically. We look at the economic impact, we look at traumatic impact. We look at all level of impact. We are not specific. We manage it holistically. So bearing that in mind, it informed the need for us to be more proactive, more effective, and more timely in the deployment of equipment and resources to recover them. Lagos State government, under the watch of Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, and his deputy, Dr. Kadri Hamzat, have formed a formidable team that have impacted the face of emergency services in Lagos State. So we've been able to have sophisticated equipment to be mobilized and sometimes engage private where necessary.
Now, you more or less veered into the realm of water transportation, talking about the ports, but I'm really concerned about the synergy between LASEMA and LASWA. We've heard of cases of both mishaps in the last 3 months. In fact, it's overwhelming and it gives one pain in the heart when you hear about both mishaps in Kwara, Kogi, Niger State, even as far as Sokoto State, Borno State. And we have advocated on this particular program that they should come and check the template of LASWA or Lagos State, precisely LASWA, LASEMA, and other emergency management agencies in Lagos State, so that they will build on it to really make sure that it suits their own environment. But unfortunately, things has not been what we've been preaching. The body solely charged with looking at inland waterways, I'm referring to NEWA, is don't board the rickety boats. We are going to convert, or you have to be there. You see, in life, when you tell people that this is, as a government agency, this is what should be done, and they refuse to do it, then you employ the big sticks. Employing the big sticks, you go there to monitor 24/7 to prevent, not just with talking or say we've been doing advocacy, going around. No. And so precisely what has been, it's not rocket science, we know.
Yeah.
What has been the modus operandi between your organization and say LASWA that will drastically reduce the case of boat mishaps on Lagos inland waterways?
Thank you very much. I'm quite familiar about the waterway response. And of course, I have deep understanding of how LASEMA and LASWA have come together on several occasions to respond and draw plans that will mitigate and of course reduce the incessant boat mishap on the waterway. You know, the present administration is trying to encourage all modal transportation, modal form of transportation, the air, the transport, and the waterway. And of course, that way is a replica of what we have in the international organizations. And of course, I'm aware that LASEMA and LASWA have on different occasions collaborate together to do search and rescue on the waterway. Recently, we did what we call simulations to sharpen our response effectiveness. What we are doing is that to encourage the waterway transportation industry. Bundles of resources is just lying there. We need to encourage waterways transportation, and of course, one of the key factors that will make people to rely on it is to, when they see the level of preparedness of government and government agency to respond, and the infrastructures and facility available to respond to incident on the waterway. And that is a critical area the government of Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu have worked on in the past 2-3 years, and we've been able to achieve that. If you look at the statistics now, you discover that the level and the numbers of waterway transportation has increased. It shows the level of resilience LASWA and LASEMA has put in, and of course it shows also that people are becoming friendly with waterway transportation. I haven't said that, but it is very, very interesting for me to state categorically that there are fundamental structures in place to promote waterway transportation. And of course, government is not leaving any stone unturned. For us at the level of managing the outfall of incident on the waterway, we are well equipped, we are well trained, we have the capabilities. In LASEMA, we have divers and local divers, and of course, we have trained officers who can carry search and rescue on the waterway. And coupled with the fact that LASWA has also built their own capability also. So you look at LASWA and LASEMA, on the waterway, and of course, the good people of Lagos State can rest assured that in few minutes, in case of any emergency or incident on the waterway, we are right there.
Now, it's interesting how you've collaborated with LASWA, and really you've definitely impacted on safety on the inland waterways. But what really amazes one is that that has not been translated to the Lagos end of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We are often and not, those that are coming to Lagos or moving out of Lagos, immediately there is a little road accident. There's a lot of backlog, either leaving Lagos or coming to Lagos. And I believe it's not something that LASMA has been able to really handle alone. That's why the cooperation with the Ogun State traffic management agencies too. Is LASEMA not involved in rescue operation along that axis?
Yeah. LASEMA has been highly involved in managing multiple accidents across the corridor of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And of course, I myself, I can count the number of times I've been particularly leading in an operation. In fact, last week I was practically on the road from 5 a.m. in the morning. I live very close, in an estate very close to the expressway. And of course, when there is a multiple crash,
and there is red alert.
And there is a red alert, I jump off to coordinate the recovery and rescue operations. It's been a successful one, I want to say. However, it's very, very important for me to state here to the good people of Lagos State that, for some times now, we've not been having this crisis. It has to do with infrastructure and some level of response. On infrastructure, the government have been able to work on the road from the mobile petrol station. You discover that they've been able to reduce the gradient. The gradient we used to have before has been one of the major influence of incessant, heavy truck accident along that corridor. So they've been able to work on the road. They've done massive reconstruction, reducing the gradient of the road, of the slope. And of course, if you look at our data from last year, we've discovered that there has been like 30% shift less compared to last year. So it's just that this month is December, is a month where people are unnecessarily and in a hurry. And of course, nobody wants to be patient with another. Those are human factor of that triggers emergency. So at that corridor, the slope, the topography is a big challenge. It's something we have just managed through infrastructure. At the level of response, LASEMA and LASMA have created great synergy. We work hand in hand, and of course, with the Ogun State Police Force around that particular axis. So LASEMA and LASMA deploy resources often. We're not waiting for Lagos State because the outfall of that impact is going to affect Lagos State. So as a result of that, we have determined within ourselves, LASEMA and LASMA along that corridor, that we should respond promptly, effectively to any incident along that corridor, remove the impediment. Last week, I remember I was going to camp for this Congress, and there was a particular container 40 feet that fell down. I had to stop and lead the recovery operations. We're able to bring our resources, and of course, LASMA was able to bring their own resources. Combination of those resources have always been the magic along that corridor. However, it's just for me to say to the good people of Lagos State that this time around, we need to be very, very patient on the road. And if we can do that, at these levels, 50% of this breakdown that we have on the falling container or heavy duty accident on the corridor along Otedola will be reduced to the PRS minimum. We have been working together, no doubt about that. I personally have led. The last week on was a serious one because the commissioner of special duty, Lagos State, called me because at that time the traffic was overflowing into Ojota towards the Bagada. It was a serious one. Many are getting frustrated. I can't stand that. So I had to rush down to the scene of incident, and of course, we were able. It was 3 containers that was down, 2 heavy duty truck, flatbed, and of course we had 1 fatality at that point. So haven't taken away the victims. Others suffer several degrees of injuries and trauma. We manage it with ambulance and FRC and ambulances. Then we come back after search and rescue. We come back to recovery. With the resources with us, we are able to clear the road around 9 a.m. in the morning. But because several channel links to this express, and they were not waiting for one another. And at that point, people were restless. They were already going through one way to block at the OPIC side. So even we cleared the road, and yet 3 hours after, the traffic was yet to flow freely. And Commissioner said, what is the situation of the report? And I told him, other causes of the overflow. The impediment had been removed. But then, because at the critical time when the the impediment was still there. We're doing the recovery. A lot of vehicles were already going through one way, blocking others. So I want to employ good people of Lagos State. And of course, if we have a major blockage incident on the Otedola Bridge, they should be calm and cool.
Patience the keyword.
Exactly, because they're going to compound the situations, even when we have removed the impediment. That is the thing. Many don't know that the impediment has been removed, but because people follow one way, so they block at the OPIC, people now going, they had to wait. It reduced the flow of traffic. But then we are on ground together with LASMA along. We were not looking at it is in Ogun State because it fell on Ogun State corridor. But we've taken, after a thorough assessment,
the ripple effect in Lagos State
is a massive one.
Yeah.
We can't just sit back at that. So we're working in collaborations with, along that corridor, with LASMA, Lagos LASMA, with and Ogun State Police along that corridor, and of course with FRCN. So those are the stakeholders that we're working together.
We've heard of cases in the last few weeks of people losing their lives in the course of collecting palliatives. What is your advice to the organizers and the people, because times are hard, who are going to rush out to collect palliatives?
If you look at the situations of crowd control, managing crowd at either planned event or an unplanned event, the secret and the magic is how developed is the Safety Commission in those states. I want to give it to the Safety Commission of Lagos State. The Director General has been very wonderful. He is a leader par excellence. There are several safety precautions, rules and regulations that comes before an event is established. So most of these people planning for events, they already know they have to register.
Is it with you or the Safety Commission?
With Safety Commission.
Safety Commission, right.
That alone is what we call disaster prevention plan. So Lagos State is blessed with agency working together, not on crossroads.
In synergy.
The synergy is high. It can be compared with developed countries. So most of our problem has been solved at disaster prevention level by the Safety Commission. So they've been able to reduce eventuality at any large crowd event to 50%. So because there are some requisite plans and infrastructure that you must put in place. So they have been complying to that. However, like when we are at the press briefing, it takes one incident to alter the trajectory. So at that point is that the level of our preparedness and readiness to respond, number one, and to manage crowd. And that area, LASEMA has been placed on red alert. We have 7 operation centers all over the state. And of course, when we have a large crowd event, large event, over 1,000, 5,000, LASEMA has always been on ground to manage crowd. Management of crowd is highly strategic and require strategic positioning of your men and your officers. Because as they are there, they are evaluating the safety level of that event. So they know what action they should take so that it will not burst into a crisis. LASEMA is able to calculate the risk value, the risk and the impediment and the hazard around that corridor. So once we have a large crowd event, we eliminate those hazards. When we look at the level at which the safety is at risk, we move in and tell the organizer, do this, do that, do this, so that they don't get carried away in the process. And that has been the magic that has been working for Lagos State.
Engineer Olatunde Akisonya,
Yes.
I want to thank you very much for finding time to come on board on this crucial day where many people are going around enjoying themselves or putting one thing or the other to celebrate the Christmas fully. But again, safety is paramount. We thank you and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very
as you
much.
keep Lagos State on our toes to preempt any casualties.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Please, let's continue to be compassionate. That way, not only during Christmas period, anytime, times are still hard. Till next time, bye-bye for now.